I am the union worker that Joe Biden tried to intimidate.
Don't be such a worry. Your AR-14s are what?
Joe Biden wants to take my AR-14. Let's just not tell him what it really is.
AR-14.
My name is Jerry Wayne, and all I wanted to do is ask a presidential candidate a question. I didn't intend to start a fight. All I did was ask Joe how he was going to win over the union vote when he's planning on coming after our guns with Beto O'Rourke.
Hell yes, we're gonna take your AR-15, your AK-47.
I watched a video where he wanted to make assault weapons, or America's most popular rifle, illegal. So I asked him about it. Instead of answering me honestly, he acted like he never said it at all. You are actively trying to diminish our Second Amendment right and take away our guns.
You're full of
So when you were at Beto, when you said you're going to take our guns,
I did not say that. That's not true. I did not say
viral
that.
video. And you say I'm full of Really, Joe? All I did was ask you about your own comment.
Welcome back. That's part of an ad campaign for the National Rifle Association. That heated exchange between Beijing Biden and Michigan union worker Jerry Wayne went viral after that confrontation this last March. Since then, there have been a slew of online memes lampooning Biden for his AR-14 comment. Jerry Wayne joins us now. Sir, thanks for taking the time. Okay, the AR-14 comment is hilarious. But do you also think it's emblematic of the entire left wing's ignorance? They don't need or care to know specifics about firearms, only that armed Americans are bad, and they are the ones standing between them and absolute power in this country.
That's absolutely right. And, you know, they try to say, like, hey, how many rounds do you need to go and shoot a deer? But that's not what these guns are for. These guns are here to protect our freedoms from a tyrannical government. And there's no more, no less of it. But that's what they're here for, and that's why America's standing up for this.
Yeah, you know what? I got to ask you, too, because here, this emphasis by the Democrat socialists, which has been an emphasis long in the making, they want to take away our right of self-defense, and now they're out there defunding the police everywhere. So you see rampant violence all over. The left-wing mobs are killing people, are burning things down, are looting stores, and the Democrats say, well, that's okay. We're going to allow that to happen. We're not going to. We're going to also defund our police and take away your protection, and then also take away your firearms. That seems to be a recipe for disaster, no?
Absolutely. And you know what? And I'm a union guy at heart, too. Like, I'm being labeled as some giant gun enthusiast and all that. But what I actually am, I'm a union guy that just wants to have his freedoms. And you know what? They're poking the bear here. And I'm here. I've got a lot of guys at work covering for me right now because they know the message that I'm bringing right now is what a lot of union guys are actually wanting to be said. And we're being misrepresented right now by a lot of our union representatives. They're trying to say, like, oh, hey, vote blue no matter who, and we need to have a Democratic president in there so we can do well in our union. But you know what? We're working across the country right now 5, 6, 7 days a week, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, and we're doing really well. And they're wanting to go ahead and bring somebody else in there to do what for us? You know, we're doing great right now. Our pensions are maxed out. We're doing well for ourselves. But you know what? We want to go to work and not be taken advantage of by our union representatives. You know, they're taking advantage of us by saying, hey, you're working all this time. Don't worry about politics. I'll go ahead and handle that for you and let you know who you're going to vote for. But you know what? We have these little things today, these little cell phones that give us a ton of information. We're now able to hold these politicians under a microscope and know and think for ourselves as individuals of this country and know what the heck we're getting into. And it's time for the unions to step up and stand together, like with this police union that you're speaking about now, that now is siding against the Democratic Party because they're literally being murdered in the street. And us as unions need to stand together and to step up and say, hey, like these other union brothers, we're going to stand with you as well because this country's free and we're not going to be treaded on.
Yeah. What about that noise from you have these union bosses who donate nearly exclusively to Democrats, yet you've got Republicans and conservatives and independents and, yeah, some Democrat workers in the union and even some Democrats, dare I say, some rank-and-file Democrats who don't want their Second Amendment rights infringed, who don't want their neighborhoods to melt down and be looted and be burned down. But they're gonna donate to Democrats, your union bosses, exclusively. And doesn't that get your goat a little bit?
It does, and it does. You know, with actually my union individually did the same thing, and that's another reason why I'm coming out here to speak out about it. Or they're doing it all over the country, you know. There's plenty of millwrights, ironworkers, pipe fitters, electricians, operators, insulators. You know, we don't all think the same way at all, but, you know, we're not being represented as a whole. And as a whole right now, we want to have our freedoms. You know, unions built this country for the working man, and yet we're sitting in idle because our representatives want to go ahead and take a step back when right now we should be standing up for what we believe in and our America and our American freedoms as a whole. And yet our representatives aren't doing anything. So that's why I'm here tonight, is to step up for our union brothers and sisters to show that we're not going to be infringed.
Well, let me focus on your union. By the way, give me the name of your union, number one. And then number two, if you had to guess a percentage of those who are not behind Biden's and the Democrats defunding the police, making neighborhoods less safe, taking away what they call an assault weapon, which there's no such thing for civilian use. You and I know that. The AR-15 and semi-automatic rifles. Give me a percentage of those who are not on board with their union bosses in policy.
All right. Well, I'm a skilled tradesman. I'm a millwright out of 1102 Detroit. And I'm very proud to be part of that union. I'm very proud to stand up with my brothers and sisters through that union. But you know what? I'm even more proud to be an American. And yeah, they're using their platform now to push an agenda. You know, we're all working a lot of hours, and we don't have the time to look at all these politics, right? So they're using that to their advantage to what they want to do with our union. But yeah, I'd say at least from what I have experienced, at least 80% feel as if that they don't want to give up their rights as an American just for the union.
Wow.
And I'd say it's quite a lot, you know. And it's gotten to the point, you know, when I first had this happen, like a lot of union guys were against me and said, you know, vote blue no matter who. But now they see what I'm standing for. I'm getting messages from a ridiculous amount of people, of union men and women throughout the country, supporting what I have to say. Because you know what? We're union. We are strong, but we're American first. We were born in America, and then we joined a union. And if we give up America, we're not going to have our union. So we're being misrepresented right now.
Damn right. That is so cool, man. And you know what? That's fantastic. You're doing it. And I got to tell you, you got to get in with these union bosses and say, hey, look, you got to look to why these Democrats are silent on what China's doing to us. You got to look into why these Democrats are silent on what the Iranians are doing to us. You guys are Americans first. It's about time your union bosses reflected that you guys are Americans. Hey, man, don't be a stranger on the Chris Salcedo Show. I want you guys to come back and let me know how you're doing, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, sir.
All right. Pleasure was all mine.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them. Tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.